What if I told you that one of the biggest movie stars in history regularly jumps off cliffs, hangs from airplanes, and risks his life for scenes that most actors would leave to CGI? And no, we're not talking about a stuntman. We're talking about Tom Cruise. A man who has spent more than 4 decades proving that age, fear, and common sense don't apply to him. Instead, he developed something that would define his entire career: determination. The idea that no obstacle was too big if he was willing to work harder than everyone else. And that mindset would eventually change his life forever. By the early 1980s, Tom Cruise started appearing in small film roles. At first, he wasn't the biggest name in the cast. He wasn't the star. He was simply another young actor trying to get noticed. Then came a film called Risky Business. Risky Business. And suddenly, people couldn't stop talking about him. One scene in particular became legendary. Tom Cruise dancing in a shirt and socks. Simple. Funny. Memorable. The scene turned him into a rising Hollywood star almost overnight. But becoming famous is one thing. Staying famous is something completely different. Many actors enjoy a few successful years before disappearing from the spotlight. Tom Cruise had other plans. Just a few years later, he starred in a movie that changed everything. Top Gun. Top Gun. If you weren't alive in the 1980s, it's difficult to fully understand how massive this movie was. Tom Cruise became more than an actor. He became a cultural phenomenon. People copied his hairstyle. They wore the same sunglasses. They bought the same jackets. The character of Maverick turned him into one of Hollywood's biggest stars. And from that point forward, the industry knew something important. Tom Cruise wasn't just popular. He could fill movie theaters. That's a very rare ability. Studios invest hundreds of millions of dollars hoping audiences will show up. Tom Cruise became one of the few actors whose name alone could attract viewers. But what makes his career remarkable isn't just the success. It's the consistency. Most actors experience highs and lows. Tom Cruise somehow remained relevant across multiple generations. Think about it. People who watched him in the 1980s became parents. Then their children started watching his movies too. Very few stars manage to stay at that level for so long. Part of the reason is that Tom Cruise constantly challenged himself. Instead of repeating the same role again and again, he explored different genres. Drama. Action. Romance. Thrillers. Science fiction. He wanted audiences to see him as more than a single character. And it worked. Then came one of the most important decisions of his career. A decision that would define the next 3 decades. In 1996, Tom Cruise starred in Mission: Impossible. Mission: Impossible. Nobody could have predicted what would happen next. The film became a huge success. Then came another movie. And another. And another. Over time, Mission: Impossible evolved from a popular franchise into one of the most successful action series ever created. But Tom Cruise wasn't satisfied with simply starring in the movies. He wanted them to feel real. That meant performing increasingly dangerous stunts himself. And that's where things started getting crazy. Let's talk about the stunt that shocked the world. In one Mission: Impossible film, Tom Cruise held onto the side of a military aircraft as it took off. Not a green screen. Not computer effects. A real airplane. A real takeoff. With Tom Cruise attached to the side. Many people assumed it had to be fake. It wasn't. Then he climbed the side of one of the tallest buildings on Earth. Then he learned advanced helicopter flying. Then he jumped motorcycles off cliffs. At some point, audiences stopped asking, "What stunt is in the movie?" and started asking, "What insane thing is Tom Cruise doing this time?" What's even more impressive is that these stunts weren't being performed by a young actor in his 20s. Tom Cruise kept doing them in his 40s. Then his 50s. Then his 60s. Most people become more cautious with age. Tom Cruise seemed to move in the opposite direction. The older he got, the more ambitious the stunts became. That's one reason audiences continue to admire him. Whether you're a fan of his movies or not, it's difficult not to respect the commitment. He's asking audiences to spend money and time watching his films. In return, he gives everything he has. Literally. Sometimes including broken bones. And yes, injuries happened. During the filming of one Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise jumped between buildings and broke his ankle. Many actors would have stopped production immediately. Tom Cruise actually finished the scene. If you watch the footage carefully, you can see the moment the injury occurs. Yet he keeps moving. That level of dedication became part of his reputation. Not because it looks cool, but because it shows how seriously he takes his work. Another reason Tom Cruise remains relevant is his understanding of movie audiences. For decades, Hollywood has changed dramatically. Streaming platforms arrived. Technology transformed filmmaking. Audience habits evolved. Yet Tom Cruise consistently focused on one simple idea: give people a reason to leave home and experience a movie in theaters. He believes certain stories should be experienced on the biggest screen possible. And his success suggests many people agree. One of the greatest examples of this came with Top Gun: Maverick. Top Gun: Maverick. When the movie was announced, many people were skeptical. The original Top Gun was decades old. Would audiences still care? Tom Cruise believed they would. And he was right. The movie became a massive global success. Critics praised it. Audiences loved it. And it introduced Maverick to an entirely new generation. Perhaps most impressively, it reminded the world that movie stars still matter. In an era dominated by franchises and special effects, Tom Cruise proved that a charismatic performer can still attract millions of people. Of course, fame at that level comes with challenges. Tom Cruise has spent decades living under intense public attention. Every relationship, every movie, every decision, everything gets analyzed. That's a reality very few people truly understand. Imagine having millions of strangers discussing your life every day. Despite that pressure, Tom Cruise has remained focused on his career. He rarely slows down. He rarely disappears. And he rarely stops pushing himself. What's fascinating is that people often debate what makes Tom Cruise special. Is it his acting? His work ethic? His confidence? His determination? The truth is, it's probably a combination of all of them. Talent alone doesn't create a 40-year career. Hard work alone doesn't either. You need both. And Tom Cruise has demonstrated that repeatedly. Today, Tom Cruise isn't just an actor. He's a symbol of dedication. A reminder that excellence usually comes from relentless effort. Whether he's filming a dangerous stunt, learning a new skill, or preparing for a role, he approaches the challenge with the same mindset he developed years ago. Work harder. Push further. Never settle. So the next time you watch a Tom Cruise movie and see him sprinting across rooftops, hanging from helicopters, or performing some seemingly impossible stunt, remember this. You're not just watching an actor. You're watching someone who has spent decades refusing to accept limits. From a young man struggling with dyslexia to one of the biggest movie stars in history, Tom Cruise built his career through determination, discipline, and an almost unbelievable commitment to his craft. And whether you love his movies or not, one thing is difficult to deny. There may never be another movie star quite like Tom Cruise. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more fascinating stories about the world's most extraordinary people. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.